The new Markerless motion capture tools in Unreal Engine are great, but they come with certain drawbacks that have made me reconsider how I'm going to use them. And it's kind of the opposite to how I normally use motion capture. In this video, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to use it for my feature film, Spacewalker. I'm also going to show you some of my little tricks and tips for tying down motion capture, especially Markerless motion capture, which can kind of drift off a little bit. Welcome back to London, where we're having a heat wave. If you can hear noise in the background, that is many, many fans cooling me down. But you could fry an egg on this desk. Let's get to it and go find somewhere cool, like the pub. My name's MXBell and I work on all these things, and I'm here to teach you how to make films in Unreal Engine. Welcome to Realtime Workflows. The way that I normally do motion capture is when I go to one of the, like a Vicon stage, I've done it many times, and I go and I always get asked, have you got a shot list? And I always say, no, I'm not doing shots. I'm blocking action. I'm gonna work the shots out later once I've got the action, right? With motion capture, like I can bend it to my will, and I've got videos about that. I can manipulate it afterwards as I block the cameras in. What I'm really concerned about is getting the action that I want and action that I can film. And by action, I don't just mean like people shooting at each other and running and jumping. When I refer to the action, what I'm talking about is the blocking, what the characters are doing in the scene, so that I can shoot it later. That's the benefit of motion capture to me. We're getting coverage, to put it in film terms, I'm getting motion coverage, right? I'm gonna take it away and manipulate it and fuck about with it afterwards. When we're talking about the Markerless motion capture, that is tying up your machine. You're creating a lot of data, you spend a lot of time processing it. The longer it runs, it kind of drifts. You can't do anything that's too long because you've only got the one static camera angle and one actor. So there is limitations there. This is one take from the motion capture that we recorded last week. It came in processed. Obviously, I'm going to remove some of these intersecting objects. There's a whole piece of action there, you know. With Markerless, you know, the processing time would be immense. You know, that took 2 people to actually wheel the actor around as well. It's not a replacement for it. So I was thinking like, well, how am I going to use it? How can I best use it to my advantage? And let me show you this. Actually, I've made this other level as well. Actually, I just did it so I can see everything a little bit better. So like, this is a piece of mocap we recorded, and it's for a different part of the film, and I was just trying to figure out...
Hey, it's me. It's a couple of days later, and clearly my brain had melted. Here I am waffling about nothing. What I'm trying to say is that ordinarily, my motion capture process is that I record a lot of it, and then figure out the shots from it. And what I'm going to do now with Markerless, and specifically with Spacewalker, is block out my shots using basic animation, and then, having got the shot worked out, record Markerless motion capture specifically for it. And with Spacewalker, as the added advantage, because I need to put the handrails in certain places, and obviously there's only kind of like so many planes. I'm doing it now, I'm waffling. Forget it. Let's go.
Get this, and so you can see I'm using all the different planes and all the other stuff, and there's absolutely no fucking way to mocap that without building the space station on a motion capture stage and having an actor on a tuning fork or a wire or something. This is quite successful. It's just very simplistic. But what occurred to me was, well, why don't I figure out what my shots are and then see about using the Markerless motion capture to fill that gap? And so that's what I did. So here's basically that same thing, but with a camera. I haven't done any light or anything, but so this is the same thing. It's just 2 keyframes. It's just one to the next, right? And just nice and slow. But it doesn't tell the story that I want to tell, that he's kind of blind and he's feeling around for the next handrail. But that's a lot of animation, and I don't necessarily want to do that animation. That's going to be me animating this kind of thing a lot, you know. So I thought, well, actually, what I could do is take that as a basis, and I could set this up with the 2 handrails for Markerless motion capture, and then just shoot that bit and drop it in. And so that's what I did. And so we can see here we go. So this is him. He sort of feels around here. The animation would be fixed up, but like it's a better pass, and it was just a really quick, you know, a really quick version. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get all my shots working just with basic animation blocking. And then once I've locked my shots down, I'm going to iterate up with Markerless, just where I feel like I can embellish the story a little bit faster by doing motion capture than by animating. Because remember, the time it would take me to animate that hand sort of padding around believably is probably the same amount of time it takes me to just like quickly shoot a bit of mocap, process it, and stick it in here. And you're also getting all the other bonuses of motion capture, you know, the kind of like almost imperceptible motions. Let me just show you what I've been doing here to fix this in terms of animation layers, because there's some things I'm doing here that I'm quite pleased with. So I've got, you can see here my animation layer system that I come in and do. So I've got, the first one is just an additive layer, and what I'll do is I'll just flick these off and on. Like if I flick all of them off, you'll see what the animation was to start with. So this is the raw mocap, and in fact, if I hide the station, you'll see what is, yeah, there we go. So this was the raw mocap. So you can see that the sliding on his hands are meant to be planted, the sliding around. So when the station's on and I activate this one, this is just putting it a little bit more kind of in the right place and whatnot. And so this next one is left hand override. And if I just come down to this, you'll see. So Anim layer 1, left hand override. And we can see that the weight is keyed here at the end. So this left hand override, if I turn it on, we'll see that what it does is it's this hand as it grabs this rail. If I turn that off, you'll see that it continues to float, and what it's doing here is grabbing the rail. The position's set, and then it keys itself on over time and just locks there. And because it's an override layer, it's just going, right, this, I now control the hand, I'm locking it there. So that's that one. The next one is a right hand adjustment. So that's this one up here. If we just come and look at what this is doing, you'll see that when he comes down here, the hand is kind of broken. And so this one just fixes it. Okay, so it does that. That's what that one's doing. This right hand override is the next one down. And we can see this one keys pretty quickly. It's on, and then very quickly it's off. And now the reason is I set the override when this hand, the right hand, was there. And what that does, it locks it in place. And then I'm keying it on the frame before, and then I'm keyframing it off, so it just slides off then, and allows the animation underneath that layer to come through. And then hand L override 2 is this one here. And I was worried, I actually did this over a much smaller amount of time, right? And I was worried that it comes off really quick. Watch, it comes off super quick. Whereas what I did was I expanded this so it actually takes more time to come away from the override and join it with the mocap underneath. So that's how I use very simple layers just to kind of tie down the animation and just make it a little bit less floaty, a little bit less messy. I'm going to do a video going into this kind of step by step as well. And that's how I'm going to use Markerless motion capture for my film, Spacewalker. If you'd like to see more about Spacewalker, you can hit like and subscribe and all that shit. Spacewalker is a film I am making nearly by myself. There are going to be other people involved on the periphery, and entirely in Unreal Engine and entirely in public. So I am posting every week about the work that I do, and this week has been mostly that shit that you've just seen. And so if you'd like to follow along and learn how I do it, you can join the mailing list below for extra surprises and extra free things as well. And I will catch you down the road, where hopefully it will be a little less hot. I shouldn't complain, because like I like it hot, just not this hot. It's a very British thing. See you later.